What a tremendous spectacle. One Chinook is impressive enough, but times 4 is truly exceptional. Our thanks to the crews from numbers 18 and 27 squadrons at RAF Odeum in the 4 Chinooks. Also, there is a Poseidon from RAF Lossiemouth, the RAF's latest maritime patroller in the vicinity. That's just passed off to the south of us. All of these aircraft dispersing following the King's birthday flight past, but we will see those two Rise Norton based elements of it, the Atlas and the C-70 show from the Royal Air Force Battle of Britain Memorial Flight. In from the left, the Avro Lancaster 1.
Okay, here we go with the first display. This is the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight. This is the Airfield Lancaster.
majestic return to Abingdon, I'm sure you'll agree, by the Admiral Lancaster of the Royal Air Force Battle of Britain Memorial Flight. Always a pleasure to see the BBMF represented at this show, and a very important aspect of the flight's activities.
Just for 155. This is the A400M Atlas.
And I note the aircraft coming past us now at the slope with the rear ramp open. On the rear ramp, a really excellent opportunity to get a good look at the Atlas there. This is now the primary RAF Air Movements programme after the retirement of the last C-130J Hercules, and haven't they been proving their capabilities? The Afghanistan evacuation in August 2021 was the first really large-scale operation by the Atlas fleet. 4 of them were involved. C-17 sortie out of the Afghan capital
is the C-17
Kabul
Globemaster.
in the course of the 2021 evacuation,
One
carried
five
more
part
people
and it would
than
land.
any other RAF flight in history. 436 of them in all in one of these aircraft. The C-17A Globemaster 3. As I said, that flight in 2021 carried 430.
Now with the land. The C-17 Globemaster 3.
That is just such an impressive machine. The engines for Pratt & Whitney F117 turbofans. And of course, any transport aircraft like this.
And now, flying in towards us from the centre at nearly 200 miles per hour, 180 knots, is the Tutor Display pilot, Flight Lieutenant Bob Hughes. Give him a round of applause. As he pulls up at 5G, he converts his speed into height to perform his first manoeuvre, the hammerhead. Flight Lieutenant Hughes was born in Carmarthen, South Wales, and he started his flying career in the Royal Air Force back in 1989, flying the Queen of the Skies, the VC-10, out of RAF Brize Norton. And then, later as a search and rescue pilot on the Sea King. From the end of this half-horizontal, Bob now pushes negative 2G to level the aircraft for an inverted pass. This is Bob's second year with the Tutor Display. He's operating at a base height of 300 feet, except for the two final passes at just 100 feet. Now completing two ballistic rolls, they allow Bob to gain energy for the next part of the sequence. After completing this half Cuban, Bob will enter the 4-point roll. Get your cameras ready, it's one of our best shots for the angles. In the 4-point roll, Bob delicately uses the rudder to support the nose above the horizon while flying at 90-degree angles of bank. Next, another wing over, a combined pitching and rolling manoeuvre used to turn the flight path through 180 degrees. You'll notice that each wing over is slightly different as Bob carefully selects his flight path for differing wind conditions and aircraft energy states. Bob now rolls 90 degrees while pointing straight up before completing a stall turn at almost zero airspeed. The two 90-degree turns allow Bob to continue in the same direction. Visit our tent, website, or view our Tutor Display leaflets to access a QR code to donate. For those of you considering going to university, there are 15 university air squadrons across the UK. On the squadrons, students are taught to fly the Tutor by highly experienced military flying instructors, like Bob. It is worth mentioning that the UAS syllabus does include solo aerobatics. Members are not committed to a military career after graduation, however, many decide to join the RAF. We're now in the high energy section of the display with a derry turn, quarter clover, and now the loop, which is a quintessential aerobatic manoeuvre. Today, the Royal Air Force is recruiting for multiple rewarding and demanding professions and has an exciting future with the continued development of our combat, utility and maritime patrol aircraft, as well as UK Space Command. Babcock International and Runway 25, who provided much of the merchandise we're giving out for free at our stand this season. Now his final wave, Bob will be displaying the Tutor, waving it to us when he gets back straight. I can tell he's really battling with the wind because the Tutor is a really quite light aircraft, so it really shows the finesse that's required to display it. If you've got some good photos, make sure to tag the RAF Tutor Display on social media and we will use your shots. Visit the RAF website to find out more about our professions, including but not limited to aircrew, air operations controllers, engineers, medics, cyberspace specialists and more. A big thank you to Abingdon for hosting us today. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a wave, the 2025 Royal Air Force Tutor Display.
Seb, thank you very much.
And there they go, the 2025 Royal Air Force Falcons Parachute Display Team. The red smoke trailing from their legs is created by smoke canisters attached to their boots, which were activated at the very last moment before jumping from the aircraft. As we can see, all canopies are safely deployed as the team immediately begin manoeuvring into the snake formation. For the 2025 season, the team have been working on a dynamic routine over the winter months, and we hope you enjoy the visual spectacle as much as the RAF Falcons enjoy flying it. They have built a snake formation by turning 180 degrees back into the jump run direction. This leads into the crisscross, where both sides of the formation will turn towards each other, with closing speeds of over 45 miles per hour, and then pass within a few feet of one another. They immediately make a turn into the very dynamic signature carousel formation, which is the team's favourite manoeuvre and requires vast amounts of concentration and trust in each other. And to show your appreciation for the skills demonstrated today by the 2025 RAF Falcons team.
Harvard, Abingdon, your readability 5.
As they're getting closer, make sure that you're carrying on that huge cheer to encourage them. Coming in now, we have Sergeant Ashelby. I'm pretty sure you can be louder than that. Coming in now, we have Sergeant Lynch, followed by Sergeant Atkinson. That's better, keep that cheering going. We now have Sergeant Griddle, followed by Flight Lieutenant Adams Cairns, Sergeant Shields, and then last but not least, flying the Union Jack is Sergeant Olds. We haven't quite finished just yet, as the team will be completing their lineup and official salute today. They are quickly removed. Once again, put your hands together and give a big cheer for the superb display from the 2025 Royal Air Force Falcons Parachute Display Team. As previously mentioned, the RAF Falcons are online, so please do follow us or contact us.
From our left is an example of that design in definitive production form. This is the Canadian Car and Foundry Harvard.
This one is replacing the vampire jet.
This is the Pitts S1 Special, an S1S model. And this is the Jubilee Pitts. So, starting off with a side-flipping, knife-edge flypast. Then turning away with a high wing over. Back into it on the 45-degree line. Up for a series of Humpty Bump maneuvers. So they can see pulling up, pushing uncomfortably over the top. A great deal of painful negative G for the pilot. The pilot being Ian Smith, who was born in Australia, moved to the UK when he was 20 and has worked as a medical trainer in the NHS using robotics. He is an aerodrome flight information service officer in the control tower at Cotswold Airport. He's taken up display flying with aplomb. He's now got more than 500 hours of aerobatic flying in his logbooks, in excess of 600 hours on hit specials like this one. So a stall turn to reposition. Back in down the main display line.
Next display is the B17 Sally B.
This particular B-17 is celebrating another birthday this year because it's 80 years old. It was built by the Lockheed Vega plant at Burbank, California in 1945. It was delivered to the US Army Air Forces. It served with them for 9 years. Then it went to the French Institut Géographique National, the IGN, for use as a long-range mapping and survey platform. And it carried on along with several other B-17s in that role well into the 1970s. But the part of its story that we celebrate this year began 50 years ago in 1975. When this aeroplane was acquired by a man it commemorates to this day, Ted White and Associates, as a company called Euroworld. They decided they wanted a B-17. The intention was initially to sell the aircraft on, but as it came to the UK in early 1975, and somehow it's stayed here ever since. Continuing to fly on as a living memorial to the US 8th Air Force, and indeed to all the Americans who made the ultimate sacrifice in World War II. It has a raft of television and film credits to its name, surely most famously the 1990 big screen adaptation of the wartime documentary Memphis Belle. And indeed, this aircraft still wears the Memphis Belle nose art on one side of the nose, on the other the name it's worn for so many years, Sally B. Efforts, this aeroplane would have gone from our skies long ago. It's worth mentioning that when we see the Great Warbird, This is an aeroplane that is never lost from our skies. And here we see the aircraft flying past with smoke on to simulate a damaged engine. A pass that always salutes the efforts of the members of the Sally B Supporters Club, but which we also use this year to pay tribute to this aircraft's operator, the remarkable, the wonderful Ellie Sallingbow. Ellie and your team, thank you for keeping this aeroplane flying. B-17G Flying Fortress Sally B.